Welcome, everyone. It's Tuesday, December the 9th, and we're here at the Middlesex County Building. And it looks like all councillors are here and present, so that's great. We're calling this meeting to order right at 1 p.m. And I'd like to thank you, everyone, for being here today. As we begin this term, I look forward to working together as we continue advancing our strategic priorities of Middlesex County. With the holiday season approaching, I want to extend my best wishes to our residents and to all of you around the council table. I hope everyone has the opportunity to rest and prepare for a productive year ahead in 2026. I'd also like to take this opportunity to remind everyone to support our local businesses and participate in the community events throughout the county over the coming weeks. These activities help strengthen our local economy and keep our communities connected. Finally, while many are celebrating, this time of year can be difficult for some. I encourage everyone to check in on neighbors who may be alone and, if able, to support local food banks and community programs. Now I'd like to read our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land we stand upon today is the traditional territory of the Attawandaron, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Lenape peoples, who have long-standing relationships to the land, water, and region of southwestern Ontario. The local First Nation communities of this area include Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames First Nation, and Munsee Delaware Nation. We acknowledge the treaties that are specific to this area. Treaty 2, the McKee Purchase, Treaty 3 between the Lakes Purchase, Treaty 6, London Township Purchase, Treaty 21, Longwoods Purchase, and Treaty 29, the Huron Tract Purchase. We value the significant contributions both in the past and in the present of local and regional First Nations of Turtle Island. We acknowledge historic and ongoing injustices that Indigenous people endure in Canada, and we affirm our commitment to honoring Indigenous voices, nations, and cultures, and to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. At this time, I'll ask, are there any declaration of pecuniary nature or general nature thereof? Seeing none then, you've had a chance to look through the agenda. Could I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Moved by Councillor DeVete, seconded by Councillor Smyber. All in favor, and that's carried. You've also had time to read through the minutes. So the minutes of, are there any errors or omissions on the minutes of November 21st, the special meeting of council, the closed session minutes of November 21st, November 25th, the regular meeting of council, and the closed session minutes of the November 25th meeting, and the minutes of November 27th. If there's no errors or omissions, could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Graham, seconded by Councillor Mayhew. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next up is the our new business, and I will turn this portion of the meeting over to Rebecca Glavin, our Deputy Clerk, in reference to Middlesex Accessibility Advisory Committee for the revised terms of reference.
Through the Warden to Council, for your consideration is the updated terms of reference for the Middlesex Accessibility Advisory Committee. The committee has reviewed and endorsed the revised document at its November 20th meeting. The existing terms of reference were last approved in 2016, and since then our governance practices, organizational structure, and accessibility standards have evolved. Staff have completed a comprehensive review of the terms of reference to ensure the document reflects current expectations and aligns with the AODA. Overall, these revisions modernize the document, ensure alignment with current practices, and support the committee in continuing its important work. Marcy and I are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Rebecca. Are there any questions on this report? Seeing none, then we have a motion that the Middlesex Accessibility Advisory Committee revised terms of reference report be received for information, and that the terms of reference for the Middlesex Accessibility Advisory Committee be approved as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Brennan, seconded by Councillor Burkhart-Jessen. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, Rebecca, you're up again for the joint annual accessibility status report. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So Middlesex County and its local municipal partners are required under the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act to prepare an annual status report. This report must also be publicly posted on both the county and the local municipal websites. The annual status report provides residents, interest holders, and municipal staff with a clear overview of current accessibility initiatives underway across Middlesex County and local municipalities. It also supports accountability, transparency as we work towards creating a more inclusive municipal services, programs, and facilities. This status report has been reviewed and endorsed at the November 20th meeting, and Marcy and I are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Rebecca. Are there any questions on this report? Seeing none, then we have a motion that the 2025 joint annual accessibility status report be received for information, and that the 2025 joint annual accessibility status report be approved and posted on the Middlesex County website. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Smyberg, seconded by Councillor McGuire. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next up on the agenda is 5.8.3, and just to give you some context, it's in reference to the appointment to the Budget Committee. I was originally on the Budget Committee, and then once I became warden, that position, I vacated it as a standing member. So we require that position to be filled. And we are recommending at this time that if the Councillor Grantham has put his name forward for that. So are there any questions? Okay, then. We have a motion that the appointment to the Budget Committee report be received for information, and that the necessary bylaw by council at the December 9th, 2025 meeting of council to appoint Councillor Grantham to the Budget Committee. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor McMillan, seconded by Councillor Ropp. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, 5.8.4, is the Middlesex Community Safety Wellbeing Plan. And we'll look to Paul Shipway, our CAO, for that report, as well as Joe Windsor, Director of Human Resources.
Through you, Madam Warden. This was an outstanding item for staff as requested by County Council. So what this report does is provide the background on the Community Safety Wellbeing Plan, some recent consultations with the local CAO group, and presents a path forward to update the Community Safety Wellbeing Plan in accordance with applicable legislation, and also round it out with a more robust implementation plan and monitoring and evaluation framework that will allow us to have this be a reliable tool on a go forward. So we're seeking direction to proceed with this. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions? Councillor Burkhart-Jessen.
Thank you. Through the warden, this really isn't a question, it's a comment. I just want to thank staff for bringing this forward. It is a document that I think needs to be a living document that we is part of our, just like we look at the strategic plan. And I know that it hasn't been updated and brought to us, I don't think in the manner that it should be. So I look forward to the updates and really being part of this plan and seeing it in actual motion.
Councillor Grantham.
Yeah, thank you, Warden, and not to get too granular on the report, but just in terms of specifics, and I brought this up at our local council, and Joe may have ask this question. Will this cover things like cold weather emergency response? Is it that granular, Paul?
Through you, Madam Warden, there's some prescribed framework within the legislation that it covers, and then it can sort of go beyond that. But really, our goal is to utilize existing data sources and resources we have to round out the reporting on the community safety wellbeing plan and engage with our interested parties in the community, and also our police service boards and our police forces on that, and then round out the specific deliverables on that.
Any further questions? I just have a comment. I sit with Councillor Brennan on the Middlesex OPP board, and I know we were looking for this. So it'll be nice to have this come before the board as well. So I appreciate that. Okay, last call for questions, comments. Councillor McGuire.
Just one quickly. I was looking at the key sector participants or possible participants early on in the document, and I was just going to put forth that there's an agency in Strathroy-Caradoc that deals a lot with this type of stuff holistically, and that would be Middlesex Community Living. So just as a note to, I guess, the CAO, might be a resource.
Thank you. That's good input. Any further comments, questions? Okay, seeing none, then we have a motion that the Middlesex Community Safety Wellbeing Plan report be received for information and that staff be directed to procure a consultant to update the Middlesex Community Safety Wellbeing Plan. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Burkhart-Jessen, seconded by Councillor David. All in favor? And that's carried. Next item on the agenda, 5.8.5, the Human Resources Policy, and it's a report from our CAO, Paul Shipley, and I'll turn this section of the meeting over to him.
Thank you, Madam Warden. As part of our commitment to modernize our corporate policies, we started with the vacation policy and the overtime flex policy. So these have been reviewed by third-party legal and brought up to sort of sector standards. And we're looking forward to getting these in place and moving forward, and happy to answer any questions you may have on these policies.
Okay, are there any questions out there? I know some people had sent some ahead and they might have been addressed. Councillor McGuire, go ahead.
Yes, I put two questions forth to the CAO, and both of them had to do with the same concept, being if people didn't use time earned, that it would be forfeited. And there was a kind of a quick response to that I was just hoping to be able to put on the record.
You, Madam Warden. Yes, so that is the case in both of the policies. So as it pertains to overtime, or what's called flex or lieu time for managers or directors under the ESA, manager directors are not entitled to overtime. So it's permissible under the ESA, and it doesn't violate that if a certain amount remains unused at the end of the year, that it can be forfeit. And then with the vacation policy, again, there's requirements for up to the ESA entitlements, and the county's vacation allocation policies, along with sector best practices, there's an allocation greater than the ESA requirement. So we're only referring to those amounts in excess of the ESA. However, I'm confident our senior leadership team and all of staff will be able to utilize that within the existing program parameters on a go forward.
Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, then we have a motion that the Human Resources Policies Report be received for information and that Vacation Policy HR 2.05 and Overtime Flex Policy HR 2.03 be approved. Moved by Councillor McGuire, seconded by Councillor Mayhew. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, item 6 on the agenda. Are there any inquiries? Number 7, any notices of motion? Number 8, councillor comments. Anybody like to make some comments? Congratulations to Strathroy Kiradok for your new fire hall. And I'd also like to take this time to single out, I guess is the word, and not to put her on the spot. We're not going to make her speak, but I'd like to have Sandra just give everybody a wave. Sandra Shells is our new director of HR. So if you haven't had a chance to welcome her to the team, I'd encourage you to do so. She's a great addition to the staff here. She's got extensive experience and we're looking forward to working with you. So welcome on behalf of the county. At this time, I'd like a motion to go in to convene into the committee of the whole at whatever time it is, 1:15 p.m. I have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Grantham, seconded by Councillor DeVete. All in favor? And that's carried. We do not have any delegations and we don't have any reports from county officers yet. They're getting off late this week, I guess. Next item up is 9C action items. And the first one up is the community safety zones implementation for December 2025. And we look forward to receiving the report from Chris Tranny, our engineer and deputy CAO. And I'll turn this portion of the meeting over to Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Warden. And I'll be fairly brief. This is the first, I'm sure, of many times we'll see this type of report come before County Council for approval. This is our first round of requests for the implementation of community safety zones as per the very recently approved community safety zone policy. There were 3 zones evaluated. 2 of them we actually received prior to us passing the policy. That was in front of the schools on Catherine Street in Dorchester and by the Kerwood Ballpark in Kerwood. We received subsequently another request for a section of Concession Drive in front of Glencoe District High School. That one did not quite meet the criteria score. As you can see, Appendix A, each of these sections of road are scored on a number of criteria as per the bylaw, or excuse me, the policy. So at this time, for our initial community safety zone bylaw, staff is recommending the implementation of community safety zones along Catherine Street in the vicinity of Northdale Central Public School and St. David's Catholic School, and on Kerwood Road in the vicinity of the Kerwood Ballpark. So I'll leave it there and be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Are there any questions? I know one community will be happy to hear the news. I can't speak for the other, but I'm sure they are. Okay, if there's no questions or comments, we have a recommendation that the Community Safety Zones Implementation December 2025 report be received for information, and that a bylaw be introduced at the January 13th, 2026 meeting to designate community safety zones on parts of county roads in the county of Middlesex, including County Road 49, Catherine Street in the vicinity of Northdale Central Public School and St. David Catholic School, and County Road 6, the Kerwood Road in the vicinity of the Kerwood Ballpark. Could I have a motion, or could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Smyberg, seconded by Councillor McMillan. All in favor? And that's carried. Next item on our agenda is 9C2, the 2026 temporary borrowing bylaw report from our CAO, Paul Shipway.
Thank you, Madam Warden. This is really a procedural item, thanks to the financial services team. Historically, we'd bring these forward in August, but we're just trying to get on a better schedule, bringing them forward before the year, and it's just our temporary borrowing bylaw. In the event that we need to temporarily borrow, historically, we have not had to, but we want to make sure we have the tool in place, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, this is something everybody's seen before, but do you have any questions? Seeing none, then we have the recommendation that the 2026 temporary borrowing bylaw report be received for information, and that a bylaw authorizing the borrowing of funds with a maximum limit of $2 million at any one time in 2026 be introduced at the January 13th, 2026 meeting of County Council. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Mayhew, seconded by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, Paul's on the hook for the next one as well. 9C3, the Middlesex County Employment Lands Readiness Program Report.
To you, Madam Warden, I'd like to thank senior leadership team for being able to spin this one back so quick for council. So this stems from the correspondence received at the last meeting from Adelaide Metcalf. Because of the differences in the program, we did not incorporate this directly into the county loan program. Instead, we developed a employment lands readiness program for council consideration. The report walks through how the loan program works and how this program would be funded. Ultimately, there's lower thresholds on this because you're doing a study or feasibility project that doesn't immediately directly result in some tangible benefit like the loan program. And that's why the loan program is placed in line before these if studies and applications came in at the same time. Ultimately, it capped at $200,000 per application, one application at a time. 5-year, no interest loan would be the max, subject to an agreement. So it mirrors the framework of the loan program, but it is for studies. We didn't do a formal consultation, but we did send out an informal email with our local CAOs seeking feedback. And generally, I could summarize the themes as that everyone's open to additional sources of funding if it's available. However, there was some concerns expressed about ensuring that the loan program remains a priority and funded to ensure we're putting tangible assets before studies. So ultimately, we put forward this for council's consideration. We're happy to answer any questions you may have, but if you were looking to address the sort of request that came forward, this would be the mechanism that you could do that on.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Are there any questions on this? Okay, seeing none then, we have a recommendation that the Middlesex County Employment Lands Readiness Program Report be received for information and that staff be directed to bring forward a bylaw to adopt the Middlesex County Employment Lands Readiness Program for council consideration. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Grantham, seconded by Councillor Smyberg. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, then I'll take the vote. All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Okay, next up is 9.D, the correspondence and information items. Is there anything anybody would like to speak to on these or have spoken to? Seeing none, then we have a motion that items 9D1 to 9D11 be received for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Ropp, seconded by Councillor Grantham. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we have a recommendation that the Committee of Whole rise at 1:23 p.m. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Smyberg, seconded by Councillor McMillan. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so at this time, the next portion of the meeting will be closed at 1:24 p.m. in order to consider the following: collective bargaining update for labor relations or employee negotiations in accordance with subsection 2392 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, and a human resource matter, a personal matter pertaining to identifiable individuals, including municipal employees, and advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose in accordance with subsections 2392B and F of the Municipal Act 2021 as amended. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor McGuire, seconded by